20 obsolete features in homes no longer utilized. I've often encountered a peculiar little door or an antiquated switch and pondered its original function. Residences once incorporated ingenious elements that simplified daily routines before the advent of contemporary technology. I'll explore these overlooked innovations and examine their influence on everyday living. Wall plates. If you've ever observed those unusual metallic plates on the exterior of a vintage house, you might have assumed they were merely ornamental. However, these iron components actually fulfilled a crucial structural role referred to as wall plates. Typically crafted from cast or wrought iron, they were more than just decorative accents. These plates were integral to a reinforcement mechanism designed to maintain the stability of a building's walls. They were linked to lengthy iron rods that traversed the walls, serving as internal anchors to prevent the structure from bulging outward or even collapsing. This was particularly vital for brick and stone edifices, which lacked the adaptability of modern materials and were susceptible to shifting under pressure. Prior to the advancement of sophisticated construction methods and reinforced materials, builders depended on these iron supports to preserve a home's structural soundness. Coal chute door. If you've ever strolled past an older residence and spotted a diminutive iron door near the foundation, you might have questioned its purpose. It's not merely an arbitrary piece of metal, it's a coal chute door, a formerly indispensable feature in homes that depended on coal for warmth. Before the advent of modern heating systems, homeowners required a consistent supply of coal to fuel their furnaces, particularly during winter. Coal delivery personnel would visit each house, shoveling coal through these small doors where it would descend a chute into the basement. From there, the homeowner would shovel the coal into the furnace as necessary, ensuring the house remained heated. This system was prevalent in urban areas and colder regions, where coal served as the primary heating source for many years. Nevertheless, as natural gas and electric heating gained efficiency and widespread adoption, coal furnaces and their associated delivery systems became antiquated. Currently, many of these iron doors persist as remnants of a bygone era. Some homeowners have sealed them off, while others retain them as a tribute to their home's heritage. Built-in phone nooks. Before the era of smartphones and wireless communication, landline telephones were a domestic staple. However, early home phones weren't the streamlined, cordless models we're familiar with today. Instead, they were cumbersome, often featuring separate earpieces and rotary dials necessitating a dedicated location within the home. Consequently, many older houses incorporated built-in phone nooks, compact recessed shelves or alcoves specifically designed to accommodate the family telephone. These nooks were typically situated in a hallway or adjacent to the living room, ensuring the phone was readily accessible to all household members. They frequently included a small shelf for storing telephone directories, notepads, and pens, as making a call often involved jotting down numbers or taking notes during the conversation. In some residences, the nook even featured a small bench underneath, creating a designated area for making calls. Today, these phone nooks have lost their original function, but they haven't entirely vanished. Many homeowners repurpose them as decorative display spaces, utilizing them to showcase antique phones, mail, plants, or small trinkets. Landline phone jack. If you reside in an older home, you've likely noticed these small square outlets dispersed throughout the house. You might find them in the kitchen, living room, bedrooms, and even hallways. These are landline phone jacks, once a crucial component in every home, but now largely obsolete due to the proliferation of cell phones. Before mobile technology dominated, having a landline was the sole dependable means of making calls. Many homes possessed multiple phone jacks, allowing phones to be positioned in convenient locations, enabling family members to answer calls regardless of their location within the house. Some homes even featured multiple lines, particularly if someone worked from home or if teenagers desired their own private number. Currently, with nearly everyone carrying a smartphone, landline phone jacks have become relics of a past era. While some homeowners retain a landline for emergency purposes, most of these jacks now remain unused, often concealed by furniture or repurposed for other wiring requirements. Ice door. Have you ever encountered an unusual small door at the rear of an old house? Perhaps it led into a pantry or a small room, and you noticed another door inside that locked from within. If so, you may have discovered a forgotten relic of the past. An ice door. Before the advent of modern refrigerators, people preserved their food using ice boxes, essentially insulated cabinets that relied on large blocks of ice to maintain coolness. Since homeowners required a regular supply of ice, deliverymen would bring fresh blocks to the house frequently, instead of transporting them through the front door and creating a mess inside. Many homes featured a special ice door at the back or side of the house. This enabled the delivery man to place the ice directly into the icebox compartment without ever entering the home. If you've ever heard an older relative refer to a refrigerator as an icebox, now you understand the origin. That term is a vestige of the time when preserving food cold depended on regular ice deliveries. While ice doors are seldom seen in modern homes, they serve as a captivating reminder of how people maintained freshness before the age of electricity. Have you ever resided in or visited a home with one of these forgotten designs? Share your experience. The laundry chute. If you live in an older multi-story home, Pittsburgh potty. If you've ever been inside a home built before World War II, you might have stumbled across a peculiar sight, a solitary toilet sitting out in the open in the basement, devoid of walls or privacy. These fixtures, often lacking even a sink or shower nearby, are known as Pittsburgh potties. Although not exclusive to Pittsburgh, they could be found in many industrial cities across the United States. The rationale behind these unusual basement toilets dates back to the era of steelworkers, miners, and other laborers who returned home covered in dirt, soot, and grime after a long shift. Instead of tracking that mess into the main living area, they would enter through the basement and utilize the toilet, and if available, a utility sink or even a makeshift shower to clean up before proceeding upstairs. This practical design helped maintain the cleanliness of the home's main bathrooms and living areas. Today, most Pittsburgh potties have either been removed or enclosed to provide some privacy. However, occasionally, you'll still encounter one standing alone in an older home's basement. Unused, yet a quirky reminder of a time when functionality often superseded modern comforts. If you happen to see one, consider it a glimpse into the past when hardworking homeowners prioritized practicality over modesty. Knob and tube wiring. If you've ever peeked inside the walls or ceilings of an older home, especially one built between 1880 and 1930, you might have encountered a wiring system that appears outdated, if not outright hazardous. This method, known as knob and tube wiring, was one of the earliest electrical systems employed in residential construction. The setup was relatively straightforward. Single insulated copper wires ran through the hollow spaces in walls and ceilings. Where the wires needed to pass through wooden framing, small porcelain tubes served as insulation to prevent contact with the wood. Porcelain knobs were nailed down to secure the wires in place and prevent them from sagging or touching surfaces they shouldn't. At the time, this was considered a safe and effective means of distributing electricity throughout a home. Fast forward to today, and knob and tube wiring is widely regarded as a fire hazard. While it was adequate for the limited electrical demands of the early 20th century, modern homes require significantly more power. The old wiring lacks grounding, and over time, the insulation can become brittle or damaged. Although some older homes still have it in place, most electricians recommend replacing it with a safer, up-to-date system. It's a fascinating piece of history, but definitely not something you want powering your home today. Ceiling beds. Have you ever witnessed a bed descending from the ceiling? While this ingenious design is experiencing a minor resurgence in modern, compact apartments, it was once a serious rival to the more renowned Murphy bed. These ceiling-mounted sleeping solutions, sometimes referred to as soaring beds, were conceived to optimize living space without occupying valuable wall or closet areas. Patented in 1913, these innovative beds operated using a counterweight system concealed within the walls. A simple hand crank would lower the bed from the ceiling, allowing it to float down smoothly into position. To ensure stability, foldable legs could be extended, providing it with a proper foundation for sleeping. When morning arrived, the bed could be push-button light switches. Push-button light switches might appear as a charming throwback, or even a touch of vintage opulence, but they weren't without their shortcomings. Initially introduced in the late 1800s and commonly used through the early 1900s, these switches operated with a simple push mechanism. One button turned the light on, and the other turned it off. At the time, they were considered an improvement over early rotary switches. offering a more contemporary and sophisticated appearance. However, they possessed a frustrating flaw. The buttons were susceptible to sticking. Over time, the internal mechanisms could deteriorate, leaving the light permanently on or off. This wasn't merely an inconvenience, it also posed a potential fire hazard if the wiring overheated due to a faulty connection. Despite these drawbacks, push-button switches are still sought after today by individuals restoring historic homes or desiring a touch of old-world charm. Modern versions have been redesigned with enhanced materials and durability, blending vintage aesthetics with contemporary electrical safety standards. So while the originals may have faded into history, their nostalgic allure hasn't entirely vanished. Kindly comment 1 to indicate you'll be viewing this video in its entirety. Boot scrapers. If you've ever noticed a small, cast iron fixture near the front door of an old home and wondered about its purpose, you've likely spotted a boot scraper. These once common household features were essential in an era before paved roads, when dirt streets and horse-drawn transportation made walking a messy affair. Before stepping inside, people would use the scraper to clean mud, dirt, and even horse droppings off their shoes, preventing the mess from being tracked indoors. Typically installed near the front steps or embedded into the sidewalk, these sturdy iron scrapers were a simple yet effective means of keeping homes clean in an age when carpets and rugs were difficult to wash. Root cellars. Before the invention of modern refrigeration, preserving food was a significant undertaking, particularly during harsh winters or scorching summers. That's where root cellars came into play. These cool, dark storage spaces enabled people to preserve vegetables, fruits, and other perishables for extended periods. Root cellars were typically constructed underground or partially buried, utilizing the natural insulation of the earth to maintain a steady, cool temperature year-round. Some homes had cellars separate from the main house, often resembling small dugouts with wooden or stone doors, while others simply used their basement for storage. Proper ventilation and humidity control helped prevent spoilage, making them an indispensable feature in homes before electricity became widespread. While refrigerators have rendered root cellars largely obsolete, some individuals still utilize them today, particularly in rural areas or for homesteading. They're excellent for storing homegrown produce, aging cheese, or even maintaining wine at the ideal temperature. Though no longer a necessity, these once crucial storage spaces remain a captivating glimpse into how people manage food preservation long before the convenience of a refrigerator. Razor blade disposal slots. If you've ever resided in or explored an older home with a built-in medicine cabinet, you might have noticed a small, enigmatic slot inside. This wasn't merely a random design choice, it was a built-in razor blade disposal system. Before the advent of modern cartridge razors, men used double-edged safety razors that necessitated frequent blade replacements. But there was a predicament: how to safely dispose of the old blades without risking injury. The solution was straightforward. Simply drop them into the disposal slot inside the medicine cabinet. The blades would fall into the empty space between the walls, out of sight and out of mind. At the time, this was a practical means of discarding used razors without leaving them in the trash, where they could pose a danger. However, since there was no way to retrieve them, many old homes now have a hidden stockpile of razor blades trapped inside the walls or beneath the house. While this method is no longer employed today, it's a fascinating relic of the past, one that homeowners sometimes uncover during renovations, revealing decades worth of forgotten blades. Dumbwaiters. If you've ever encountered a small, concealed lift in an old multi-story home, you may have discovered a dumbwaiter. These miniature elevators weren't intended for people, but were designed to transport food, dishes, and other household items between floors. They were particularly useful in larger homes where kitchens were situated on a different level from the dining room, allowing meals to be moved efficiently without the inconvenience of carrying heavy trays up and down stairs. Dumbwaiters were typically operated with a pulley system, utilizing ropes and counterweights to facilitate lifting. Affluent households and even some commercial establishments, such as hotels and restaurants, relied on them to maintain smooth service. While they may seem like a luxury of the past, some homes and businesses still employ modern versions today. However, in older houses, dumbwaiters often sit unused, repurposed as storage spaces, or sealed off entirely. And yes, many children in these homes have undoubtedly been tempted to climb inside for a makeshift elevator adventure. though that was never their intended purpose. Servant stairs. If you've ever toured a historic home or resided in an older house, you may have noticed a narrow, tucked-away staircase leading from the kitchen or pantry. These were known as servant stairs, a feature designed to keep household staff out of sight while they moved between floors. In grand homes of the 18th and 19th centuries, a strict social hierarchy was maintained, even within the house. While the family and guests utilized the main grand staircase, servants had their own discreet passageways, enabling them to perform their duties without disrupting the household's daily routine. These staircases were often steeper and narrower than the main stairs, constructed purely for function rather than comfort or aesthetics. Today, servant stairs are a rare find outside of historical homes and mansions. However, the concept persists in some locations, particularly on cruise ships where concealed crew stairwells allow staff to move efficiently without interfering with passengers. While no longer a common feature in modern homes, these hidden staircases serve as a captivating glimpse into the past, revealing how homes were once structured around the daily routines of both residents and workers. What's the most unusual or intriguing home feature you've encountered in a historic house? Servant floor buttons. If you ever visit a historic house, you might find an unusual item hidden underneath a rug or dining table, a small button set into the floor. These buttons were called servant floor buttons, a discreet method for homeowners to call their butler or household staff without raising their voice. These buttons were positioned in dining rooms, allowing to signal with the foot. Most of these are now non-functional, but they still remain as remnants. Today, modern homes might use wireless systems, but the idea of pressing a button for assistance remains. Milk doors. If you've ever observed a small, enigmatic door incorporated into the side of an older home, you may have pondered its purpose. This was a milk door, a prevalent feature in the era when fresh milk was delivered directly to residences. Prior to modern refrigeration, milk necessitated daily delivery to ensure its freshness. The milkman would deposit full bottles through this small compartment and retrieve the empty ones left inside. Typically situated near the kitchen or pantry, the milk door was designed to maintain efficiency and hygiene. Homeowners didn't need to answer the door or fret about leaving milk exposed to the elements. Some of these doors even possessed minor insulation features to help preserve the milk's coolness for a brief period. As home refrigeration advanced and grocery stores became more prevalent, milk delivery services diminished, rendering these doors obsolete. Today, many of them persist, sealed up or repurposed, but they serve as a charming reminder of a time when fresh milk arrived directly at your doorstep. Transom windows. If you've ever entered an older home and noticed a small panel of glass above a doorway, you've observed what's termed a transom window. These architectural elements were once a crucial component of home design, serving both practical and aesthetic functions. Before electricity became widespread, homes depended heavily on natural light. Interior rooms, particularly hallways, could be dim and uninviting. Transom windows helped mitigate this issue by enabling daylight to permeate, brightening spaces that would otherwise be dark. In addition to illumination, many transom windows could be opened, fostering improved air circulation. This was particularly significant in the era before air conditioning, as it helped regulate indoor temperatures by allowing warm air to escape and cool air to circulate. While modern lighting and HVAC systems have largely superseded the necessity for transom windows, they are still valued for their timeless charm. Many homeowners today are reintroducing them into new construction, not only for their classic appearance, but also for their capacity to enhance natural light and ventilation. Picture rails. If you've ever noticed a slender strip of molding running along the upper portion of a wall in an older home, you've observed a picture rail. These decorative yet functional features gained popularity in the mid-1800s, offering homeowners a means to hang artwork without damaging delicate plaster walls. Before drywall became the standard, plaster walls were prevalent, but they were also fragile. Driving a nail directly into the wall could result in cracks or even large chunks of plaster breaking off. Picture rails provided a simple yet effective solution. Homeowners could position movable hooks anywhere along the rail, then suspend framed pictures or mirrors using wires or cords. This facilitated easy rearrangement without necessitating repairs. By the 1940s, advancements in construction materials, including more durable walls, rendered picture rails less essential. People became more comfortable hammering nails directly into the wall, and the trend gradually waned. Today, picture rails are frequently seen in historic homes, and some modern homeowners are reintroducing them for their vintage allure and versatility in displaying art without creating permanent marks. Home intercom systems. If you've ever been inside a home constructed in the 1970s or earlier, you might have noticed an intercom system mounted on the wall. These wired communication devices enabled homeowners to converse between rooms or different levels of the house without shouting. Some systems even incorporated a front door intercom, permitting residents to communicate with visitors before opening the door. At the time, intercoms were considered a modern convenience, particularly in larger homes. Families could easily check in with each other from various areas of the house, and homeowners could screen guests without needing to peer through a window. However, with the proliferation of cell phones and smart home technology, traditional intercom systems have become largely obsolete. Smart doorbells with integrated cameras now allow homeowners to observe and converse with visitors remotely, while messaging applications and home assistants facilitate room-to-room communication effortlessly. Pocket doors. Pocket doors were an ingenious solution for creating a flexible living space. They enabled homeowners to enjoy an open floor plan, the charm and purpose of room layouts in older homes. If you've ever explored an older home, you might have noticed that many of the rooms are compact and irregularly shaped, often with numerous doors separating them. While modern homes tend to favor open floor plans, older homes were designed with a distinctly different objective in mind: privacy and energy efficiency. In the past, it was crucial to create spaces that could be readily closed off to maintain privacy, particularly when guests were present. Each room possessed its own distinct function, and closed doors helped ensure that one area of the house wasn't overheard or intruded upon by others. More significantly, the compartmentalized design facilitated heating and cooling. Without the luxury of modern climate control systems, homes depended on fireplaces, stoves, and rudimentary ventilation methods to regulate temperature. By keeping doors shut between rooms, homeowners could concentrate warmth in the areas they utilized most, avoiding energy wastage in unused spaces. This design also maintained cooler air in specific areas during warmer months. Today, while open concept homes are popular for their spaciousness, the thoughtful layouts of older homes remind us of how functional design can render everyday life more comfortable and efficient. Have you ever pondered what it would be like to reside in an 8-sided house or one constructed entirely of steel? I invite you to explore with me 20 unique old house styles that are rarely seen today, what rendered them so distinctive, and why they faded from popularity. Let's investigate. Octagon houses, popular 1850s to 1870s. Octagon houses were highly fashionable for a brief period from the 1850s to the 1870s, attributed to a man named Orson Squire Fowler. Fowler was a proponent of these homes, believing that their unique design provided more space, improved airflow, and an abundance of natural light. The concept was simple yet revolutionary. An octagon-shaped house would utilize the same perimeter as a conventional square or rectangular house, but furnished 20% more interior space. This rendered the layout more efficient, particularly for homeowners seeking to maximize their square footage without expanding the foundation size. These houses frequently featured flat roofs, central cupolas for added light and ventilation, and wraparound verandas that connected the various sections of the house. The innovative design also incorporated open floor plans that promoted airflow, which was believed to help maintain the house cooler in the summer and more comfortable overall. Despite these advantages, the Octagon house never truly achieved mainstream adoption. There are a few notable examples, such as the Longwood Mansion in Natchez, Mississippi, and the Octagon House in Watertown, Wisconsin. Even Fowler's own residence, affectionately dubbed Fowler's Folly, was eventually demolished. Although they didn't gain widespread popularity, these houses remain a captivating aspect of architectural history, showcasing the experimental spirit of their time. Lustron homes, 1948 to 1950. Lustron homes were an innovative response to the post-World War II housing crisis, offering a unique solution through prefabricated all-steel construction. Designed by Carl Strandlin and produced between 1948 and 1950, these homes were intended to provide affordable, durable housing for returning veterans and their families. Unlike conventional wood-framed houses, Lustron homes featured enameled steel panels for both the exterior and interior, rendering them highly resistant to fire, termites, and decay. Over 2,000 Lustron homes were constructed across the United States, with a few even exported to Venezuela. Their design emphasized efficiency and ease of maintenance. Metal walls could be wiped clean with a damp cloth, and built-in storage units eliminated the necessity for bulky furniture. Many models included an innovative combination washer-dryer, a rare feature for the time. The homes were shipped in kits and assembled on-site, akin to a life-size puzzle. Despite their durability, Lustron homes encountered financial and logistical challenges. Production ceased in 1950, largely due to government restrictions and high manufacturing costs. Today, surviving Lustron houses are prized as mid-century architectural relics, with preservationists striving to maintain these rare, futuristic homes that once promised a revolution in American housing. Kindly comment 1 to indicate you'll be viewing this video in its entirety. Atomic Ranch, 1950s to 1960s. The Atomic Ranch, a stylish evolution of the classic ranch house, defined mid-century modern architecture in the 1950s and 1960s. This design emphasized simplicity, functionality, and a seamless connection between indoor and outdoor spaces. With sleek lines, open floor plans, and large windows, these homes embrace the optimism of the post-war era and the space-age aesthetic. Architect Cliff May played a crucial role in popularizing the ranch style as early as the 1930s, drawing inspiration from Spanish colonial haciendas. His designs featured sprawling, single-story layouts that encouraged casual, open living, an idea that flourished in the Atomic Ranch era. Homes often included flat or butterfly roofs, asymmetrical facades, and walls of glass that blurred the boundary between interior and exterior. Vibrant colors, geometric patterns, and futuristic materials like formica and aluminum added to their distinctive look. In California, developer Joseph Eichler helped bring Atomic Ranch homes to the masses. His designs, heavily influenced by the Bauhaus and Frank Lloyd Wright's Usonian homes, featured post and beam construction, atriums, and carports instead of traditional garages. While their popularity declined in later decades, Atomic Ranch homes remain highly sought after today, celebrated for their retro charm and timeless modernity. Tudor house style. Tudor-style homes introduced the charm and essence of medieval England to American communities, merging traditional craftsmanship with contemporary adaptations. Although inspired by the architecture of England's Tudor dynasty, 1485–1603, the Tudor revival style prevalent today emerged in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, incorporating elements from medieval cottages and grand manor houses. A hallmark of Tudor homes is their steeply pitched roofs, often punctuated by prominent cross gables. Decorative half-timbering, dark wooden beams set against light-colored stucco or stone creates a distinctive storybook-like appearance. Brickwork is commonly used, particularly on lower levels or chimneys, adding warmth and texture to the facade. These homes also feature tall, narrow windows with multiple small panes, often arranged in groups and framed with dark wood or leaded glass for an old-world aesthetic. Inside, Tudor homes exude coziness, with exposed wooden beams, stone fireplaces, and arched doorways. The interiors often embrace rich, earthy tones and textured materials, enhancing their medieval-inspired charm. While traditional Tudor homes were grand estates, the American Tudor revival adapted the style for suburban living. Cottage house style. Cottage-style homes capture the charm and coziness of old-world European dwellings, drawing inspiration from the thatched roof cottages of medieval England. These homes became especially popular in the United States during the 1920s and 1930s, offering a quaint, welcoming alternative to larger, more formal architectural styles. Defined by their storybook appeal, cottage-style houses often feature steeply pitched roofs, sometimes with cross gables that add dimension to the structure. Arched entryways, rounded doors, and casement windows with multiple small panes further enhance their fairy tale aesthetic. Exteriors are typically clad in brick, stone, or stucco, creating a rustic, handcrafted look that blends seamlessly into natural surroundings. Inside, cottage homes prioritize warmth and comfort, often incorporating exposed wooden beams, built-in shelving, and cozy fireplaces as focal points. The layouts tend to be compact yet efficient, making the most of available space while fostering a sense of intimacy. Lush gardens, winding pathways, and charming window boxes overflowing with flowers frequently complement the exterior, completing the enchanting storybook feel. Though traditional cottages were modest in size, modern interpretations often expand the design while maintaining the same inviting, nostalgic charm that has made them beloved for generations. Mediterranean house style. Mediterranean-style homes exude warmth, elegance, and a seamless connection to the outdoors, drawing inspiration from the villas of Spain, Italy, and Greece. This architectural style became especially popular in the U.S. during the early 20th century, particularly in coastal regions like California and Florida, where the climate complements its design. One of the most distinctive features of Mediterranean homes is the low-pitched red tile roof, which not only enhances the aesthetic appeal, but also provides excellent heat resistance. The exteriors are typically clad in stucco or adobe, often in earthy tones like white, beige, or terracotta, reinforcing the sun-drenched old-world charm. Arches play a significant role in Mediterranean architecture, appearing in doorways, windows, and covered walkways, adding to the home's graceful and inviting character. Wrought iron accents, such as balconies, railings, and decorative grillwork, further enhance the European aesthetic. A hallmark of this style is its U-shaped floor plan, which centers around a lush courtyard featuring a fountain, gardens, or even an outdoor fireplace. This design encourages indoor-outdoor living, with large windows, French doors, and loggias opening to the courtyard, allowing natural light and cool breezes to flow through the home. American foursquare, 1895 to 1939. The American foursquare emerged in the late 19th century as a direct response to the ornate, highly decorative Victorian homes that had dominated American neighborhoods. Home buyers were beginning to favor simplicity, practicality, and efficiency over intricate detailing, and the foursquare delivered exactly that. Built between 1895 and 1939, these homes were known for their boxy 2.5-story design, which maximized interior space while maintaining a clean and straightforward aesthetic. Sometimes called the Prairie Box, the American foursquare shared design elements with the Prairie School movement, championed by architects like Frank Lloyd Wright. These homes typically featured a symmetrical layout, a large covered porch supported by columns, a hipped roof with a central dormer, and built-in cabinetry for added functionality. The emphasis was on open, airy spaces that provided comfort without unnecessary ornamentation. One of the most interesting aspects of the American foursquare is how widely accessible it became. Companies like Sears, Roebuck and Company, and Aladdin sold these homes as mail-order kits, allowing families across the country to purchase and build them affordably. Their timeless, practical design ensured their popularity for decades, and many still stand today as a testament to early 20th century American architecture. Brutalist homes, 1950s to 1970s. Brutalist homes emerging between the 1950s and 1970s represented a radical shift from conventional residential architecture, adopting raw concrete, geometric forms, and a minimalist aesthetic. Drawing inspiration from the modernist movement and architects like Le Corbusier, this style prioritized functionality over ornamentation. The term brutalism originates from the French phrase béton brut, signifying raw concrete, which served as the defining material of these structures. Brutalist homes frequently showcased massive, monolithic structures with rough, unfinished surfaces. They prioritized practicality with open floor plans, exposed structural elements, and a focus on durability. While the style was more prevalent in social housing projects and institutional buildings, like universities and government complexes, some architects experimented with brutalist principles in private residences, creating striking homes that contrasted starkly with traditional suburban houses. By the late 1970s, brutalism declined in popularity as critics associated its heavy, fortress-like appearance with urban decay and institutional coldness. Numerous brutalist structures were demolished or modified to soften their stark appearance. Nevertheless, in recent years, there has been a resurgence of interest in the style, with architects and preservationists acknowledging its raw beauty, structural integrity, and sculptural impact. If you could design your ideal home based on these historic styles, what features would you incorporate? Neoclassical house style. Neoclassical homes epitomize timeless grandeur and sophistication, drawing direct inspiration from the classical architecture of ancient Greece and Rome. Originating in the late 18th century and maintaining popularity well into the 20th century, this style is distinguished by its imposing scale, symmetrical design, and meticulous attention to detail. These residences exude a sense of formality and refinement, frequently serving as visual declarations of affluence and prestige. A defining characteristic of neoclassical houses is their utilization of tall, dramatic columns, typically in the Doric, Ionic, or Corinthian order. These columns often frame the entrance, imparting a stately, temple-like presence to the facade. Some variations extend these columns across the entire front, creating a grand colonnade reminiscent of ancient palaces. The symmetry of these homes is further accentuated through evenly spaced windows, centered doorways, and balanced proportions that establish a harmonious aesthetic. Ornamental details like pediments, intricate molding, and decorative cornices contribute to the architectural sophistication. Doorways and windows are frequently adorned with classical motifs, including pilasters and fanlights. While the style has evolved over time, neoclassical homes remain a favored choice for civic buildings, historic mansions, and even modern luxury residences, preserving their timeless allure. Cape Cod house style. The Cape Cod house style is one of the most enduring and recognizable in American architecture, known for its charming simplicity and practical design. Early Cape Cod homes were modest, single-story structures with a central chimney designed to retain heat during brutal winters. The steep roof lines helped shed snow, while the sturdy wooden construction provided durability against coastal storms. Multi-pane windows allowed natural light inside, and dormer windows, often added later, helped bring more ventilation and usable space to the upper half-story. Though Cape Cod homes remained a regional style for centuries, they experienced a massive resurgence in popularity during the 1930s, particularly as affordable housing options in suburban developments. Modern variations often include larger footprints, updated materials, and additional wings or attached garages, but they still retain the cozy, timeless appeal of their historic predecessors. American Craftsman, 1905 to 1930. The American Craftsman style emerged in the early 20th century as a celebration of skilled craftsmanship, natural materials, and simplicity. A departure from the overly ornate Victorian homes of the previous era, Craftsman houses emphasized quality over decoration, favoring solid wood, stone, and handcrafted details. This style flourished between 1905 and 1930, especially in California, where its open, airy design suited the mild climate. Inspired by the Prairie School and shingle styles, Craftsman homes were instantly recognizable by their low-pitched, gabled roofs, wide eaves with exposed rafters, and decorative beams or brackets. Many featured built-in furniture, such as bookshelves and window seats, reinforcing the idea that a home should be both beautiful and functional. Gustav Stickley, a designer and furniture maker, was one of the most influential figures in popularizing the Craftsman aesthetic through his magazine, The Craftsman. Unlike the British arts and crafts movement, which often catered to the wealthy, American Craftsman homes were designed to be accessible and affordable. However, by the 1930s, the style began to fade, replaced by simpler, more modern designs. Today, one of the finest surviving examples is the Gamble House in Pasadena, California, which perfectly embodies the warmth, craftsmanship, and natural beauty that define the movement. Shotgun House, 1870 to 1920s. The Shotgun House stands as one of the most distinctive and enduring architectural styles of the American South. Popular from the 1870s through the 1920s, these homes are characterized by their long, narrow, and rectangular structure, with rooms arranged in a straight line from front to back, typically without hallways. This design proved highly practical, facilitating efficient airflow, which was crucial in the hot, humid climate of the South. Although most commonly associated with New Orleans, shotgun houses are believed to have origins in Haitian and West African architecture, introduced to the United States through cultural exchanges in the Caribbean. Their simple, no-frills design rendered them affordable to construct, making them a favored choice for working-class families. They also facilitated high-density housing, as multiple shotgun